Hey, crypto traders, checking in on the space. We have Bitcoin and altcoins giving us the daily lower high, which was the most likely scenario. Now we're scouting the daily higher low. Are we headed back to our recent lows, or can the bulls confirm the daily trend change? There are clues that tell us which is the most likely scenario. I'll go over my recent link trade, a trade that I let come to me. So referencing the last video, the most likely scenario was a daily lower high. We were watching daily EMA 12 as our resistance guide. I cannot stress enough how watching them as guides on support and resistance has changed my trading game entirely in both stocks and cryptocurrency in the last 4 years, and is a huge reason that I am finding the best consistency that I've ever found in my trading career over the last year plus. What else was I going to say? Oh, we went from euphoria to fear to FOMO on massive bounces, with many altcoins seeing 40, 50, 90, 200% bounces. And then we anticipated the next scenario that we're going to see in the emotional cycle is, are we about to head back to the lows? And just a reemergence of a little bit of fear. I'm anticipating that I'm about to get more views on this video, and I need to give a big shout out to everybody that watched the last video. You can tell by the headlines on these videos and what was going on in the price action at that point in time. Here's your max fear, 8.6 thousand views. Here's still some fear out there, but trying to set the 12-hour higher low, 7.7 thousand views. Okay, bounce underway. Not as many people feel the need to watch. They're a bit more comfortable, 5.5 thousand. And then yesterday we had even more follow through. This is 2 days ago. We had even more follow through. Okay, sigh of relief. 3.7 thousand people watched. All of you that watched are putting your education as a priority. The people that only watch when they're fearful are getting a tiny snippet of the picture, and they are missing out big time. We're going to get more views in this video because of the red today. And people are going to check in and say, are we headed back to the lows, or are we going to change the daily trend? The information in last video is the information that would alleviate any fear, because it told us the most likely scenario was this red that we saw. And it would have provided an opportunity to even enter bearish to capitalize on that. So again, shout out to you consistent viewers, and we appreciate the support. And it's also the headlines. You know, I could make headlines that get thousands of more views, but just learn, please learn. So Bitcoin, 50% retracement, size of the bounce. So our low at 31 up to the high of the bounce at 41, rounding a bit. We dropped down to about a 60% retracement. That's not ideal. That favors possibility of an equilibrium. We can change the daily trend from here, but bulls would have ideally wanted to have seen a 38.2, 40% retracement to try and see a quick little higher low and then follow through. This is a second chance for bulls that missed the dip and missed the flush bounce and didn't want to chase in the upper 30s or 40,000, knowing a daily lower high was the most likely scenario. This is where they're getting their second chance. There's a scenario where we can drop and break 30,000. In my opinion, if that happens, I will be very aggressively buying, because in my opinion, it will be the kind of flush bounce that we saw when we broke 35,000 straight into a bounce on the shorter term timeframes. If that happens, there's a lot of altcoins that will hold their lows, in my opinion, because of the size of their bounces at this point. And a lot of the altcoins have only retraced 40% of their pullback. And we'll look at ETH and Link as two names to compare to. So in the short term, we had a 5-minute falling wedge. And really the way that my morning played out was, again, from the last video, I said, I am not making any trades until we're scouting daily higher lows. No, not making any bull trades, because I only make bull trades in crypto. Until we get daily higher lows, I'll be watching for hourly oversold conditions to potentially align with that. That's when I'm interested for the trade. And then I didn't trade crypto for 2 days. I have been more actively trading crypto in the last week than I have in many months. But you got to know when to pump the brakes and when to pump the gas. So easing off and saying, this is not my setup, the trade will come to me for a daily higher low. I wasn't convinced that 41,000 was our top. We could have seen another leg up. That just means that the daily higher low will come at a higher price. But the daily higher low will still have to happen, and now it is attempting to happen. So on the hourly, I woke up, rolled over, checked the phone at 3 in the morning, just by instinct, saw it was a bear flag, had no interest in doing anything, and then I woke up this morning at 5 a.m., a little bit after it, and I saw, okay, bear flag confirmed. Now we're getting extended. Now the hourly RSI is in the low 20s. Now I am interested in establishing positions. So from there, I started making entries into Link. I guess we'll just go through the morning and how I traded it, and then we'll go through the regular technical analysis of everything else. So at that point, I was watching falling wedges, and there were falling wedges that were more clear on altcoins than they were on Bitcoin, but there was one on Bitcoin forming as well right here. So I saw this bounce, and I started entering Link on this 5-minute high or low. I missed this 20-minute bounce. I woke up right here and said, okay, I'll enter on a 5-minute high or low and begin building a position for the hourly oversold bounce. So at that point in time, we're just going to focus on Link and Bitcoin because that's all I was doing. And at that point in time, I was watching this Link 5-minute pattern, and it was already developing the falling wedge. For me, I could see it. It didn't stand out to me on Bitcoin, and it stood out to me on Link. So it was right here. And I'm building a position, and I made my first entry, maybe 28.30, initial scaling. We then saw a bounce, failed a 5-minute trend change. This is key. Bitcoin changed the 5-minute trend here. Ethereum did not. Link did not. I'm sure a bunch of altcoins didn't. I was only watching those three, and Ethereum was only half watch. But that told me if altcoins are not leading the way back to the upside, it's a red flag on this bounce. As soon as Bitcoin confirms a 5-minute trend change with no follow through and alts do not confirm the 5-minute trend change, an hourly bear flag becomes the most likely scenario. So I look at that, and I look at Link's falling wedge, and I say, okay, if we keep rejecting from this resistance, I'm anticipating this falling wedge. I am going to buy a support break, and I'm going to get aggressive. And I posted on Twitter my posts from the morning in our Slack chat room, and it was in first entry, in second entry. So I entered 2 entries in the low 28s, and then I posted and I said, I will get aggressive if we see lower lows. And we did see lower lows, and that's when I got aggressive. So I went from 2 initial starters up here, and then I added 6 more positions, if we're comparing, to end up with 8 positions, I guess you could say. I was doing them 2 at a time, so 4 positions. So started it 1 at a time, and after my first 2 filled, then I started going 2 at a time to get aggressive. So I got some filled, should have wrote it down, but I got some filled in the mid 27s, 27.25 I think was my lowest fill, and I was getting aggressive. And then the falling wedge on Bitcoin started standing out to me, and we were watching that. And as soon as this 15-minute bounce got going, I knew I was in the clear. I'm perfectly fine on this trade. My average at that point was maybe, 27.75. And I knew that even if we rejected here and saw one more pullback, that I was real confident we were going to break bullish. Bigger picture is important. This falling wedge is not the complete picture. Why was I aggressive on this falling wedge? Because hourly RSI on Link was getting oversold after a massive 130% bounce, and Bitcoin's hourly RSI was low 20s. So if Link's going to see another leg down and Bitcoin's going to see another leg down, we're going to be talking hourly RSI in the teens at that point. And the total amount of cash that I used, I only used 35-40% of my cash on this trade. And if things got that extreme, I would have kept building that position, looking for that daily high or low. And because I was in a more aggressive position, as soon as the bounce did start getting follow through, I started scaling out. So I exited some on this break here, maybe the upper 28s, a little bit in the lower 29s, a little bit more in the 30s. And now I am left with a swing size. It's actually a little bit more than a swing size position, but my average is pretty much 27. So I am in a risk-free position, and I can view this in 2 ways. I can lock in a week maker, or 4.5 day maker, right around a week maker right now. Or I can say, I'm giving the bulls a chance to change this daily trend. I'm going to set my stop. I'm going to risk nothing. I'll risk giving back profit. And I'm going to see if these bulls can confirm an hourly trend change, set up a daily trend change, and if we do, my week maker then becomes, a 3-week maker. So I'm going to give at least a partial position the attempt to play out. If we fail hourly trend changes today, that's a big red flag for me, and I would likely adjust. But I'm in a very comfortable spot right now, and I am giving the bulls a chance to follow through. We have to change the hourly trend on Bitcoin. This looks like a little bull flag. That would be great if we just quickly set a higher low and follow through From there, I zoom out and scout a 4-hour lower high because anything under 40.4 thousand is just a lower high. Another reason I was comfortable with these entries, the 4-hour time frame was a waterfall. If we were putting up a 4-hour bear flag into lower lows and cooling things off, that would have changed things. But I liked the waterfall drop, and I liked that Link was a 4-hour waterfall drop. No little bear flags mixed in there, just a lower high every candle. And at that point, the pullback was 25% off of the high. So hourly trend change, step number 1. Again, probabilities. Are we going to change the daily trend? And I have no idea. No idea. If we change the hourly trend bullish, a little bit more likely. If we bounce big enough, retracement size on this 4-hour time frame, if we get back 50% plus, that starts to create the space for a 4-hour trend change to try and take place. If we can change the 4-hour trend, the odds of the daily trend change then become very likely. The odds of the daily trend change, I forget what I just said. It might have been something else. If we change the daily trend, what do? Zoom out game. We zoom out and scout the weekly lower high. No stock market trading on Monday. Right now, the market bulls are just fine. The S&P 500 is knocking on all-time highs. There's no fear in the broader market. So we have 3 days of no market action. I guess futures may trade a little bit on Monday, but that's a lot of time for these bulls to continue working out on this bounce. Weekly inside bar is very likely to form. The weekly inside bar will need to break bullish with a confirmed daily trend change for us to then zoom out and scout a weekly lower high. We then look at the retracement size. Can you see how we do the exact same thing time and time again, just on different time frames? Change the hourly, we do it on the 4-hour. Scout the lower high, scout the retracement size. Change the daily trend, we do it on the weekly. Scout the follow through, scout the retracement size. Can we make it back to 50% plus? That then creates space for a weekly higher low to form once we top out to try and change the trend. One time frame at a time, starting with the hourly from here on out, and the zoom out game, and scouting most likely scenarios and scouting the probabilities. So I have positioned myself. Again, a lot of people, when they start trading in technical analysis, they think that you learn that good traders know what's going to happen. Are we going to change the Bitcoin daily trend? I don't know. I honestly have no idea. But I have positioned myself in a risk-free trade where if it does, I make good money. If it doesn't, I don't lose anything. That's what trading is. Positioning yourself in probability scenarios and limiting your risk. All right. Dominance chart. Again, don't disregard the clue that alts gave us with their failed 5-minute trend change attempts that told us another leg down was, again, probabilities. Is this our hourly bounce? As soon as alts fail 5-minute trend changes? No. Odds instantly shift that nope, that is not our hourly bounce. Another bear flag is entirely possible. Dominance charts in a daily equilibrium. Low, high, higher, low. And we'll just be watching for a lower high compared to 48.67, in my opinion. We either need a massive Bitcoin news push for a bull move on the crypto space and Bitcoin to outrun alts. And if that doesn't happen, the only way this daily trend is going to confirm is another leg down, in my opinion, with Bitcoin dropping slower than the altcoins are. So if I'm a bull in the crypto space, I don't want to see this dominance chart change the daily. If I'm a Bitcoin bull, there's Bitcoin bulls right now that are rooting out there for this daily trend to change. And I wouldn't be doing that if I were you, because it's probably going to be fear that would lead to a daily trend change here if it were to happen. But I'm anticipating a tightening equilibrium for another week plus is probably most likely. ETH/USD, daily time frame. Is this a daily high or low forming? I don't know. The bulls are going to try and prove it one time frame at a time. The retracement was about 45%. So a less significant retracement. Daily trend change is absolutely on the table. If we get it, we zoom out and scout a weekly lower high. Anything under the all-time high. Bears will be waiting there. Hourly, nice bounce. Trying to set an hourly high or low. If we confirm the hourly trend change, we zoom out and scout a 4-hour lower high. Anything under 28.84. We had a nice hourly channel that some members were using as a short guide, not necessarily on ETH, but on other names, where we were just holding support, holding within a channel, And then once we rolled over, that's when things got significant. Look at the volume pick up on this channel breaking bear. And that's when the bears made their money. And I'll show that on Link because I know at least one member did it on Link because of that channel. So if we change the hourly trend, 4 hour, is the bounce big enough to change the 4 hour trend, set the daily high or low, and try and confirm a daily trend change. ETH BTC, daily looks great. Set that high or low. Change that hourly trend. That's more pullback than the bulls want to see on the hourly, but we also didn't drop as much here. We traded sideways as opposed to dropping like the US dollar pairing. But it's a potential daily bull flag. The retracement is even better than the US dollar pairing. So continuation is favored as long as retracement stays this minimal. Easily still a potential bull flag. And if that were to confirm, when the US dollar pairing confirms, ideal scenario for all bulls. Link. USDT. Daily time frame. That looks like a bull flag, doesn't it? We need follow through, but the potential is there. Retracement size, 42%. Hourly, solid bounce. Trying for the high or low, looking for continuation. Again, at this point, my reason for entry on the trade, daily high or low scouting, but hourly oversold was a pivotal part of that trade. We are no longer hourly oversold. That is why I scale out. My reason for being in the trade, when it's no longer the case, I need to have been scaling out to ensure that I'm protective. So if I'm going for a home run, I'm doing it a little bit different, but I'm just going for a solid win and to put myself in a position where I cannot lose. If we break 30.76 and confirm continuation, we zoom out, scout the 4 hour lower high. Anything under 35.36 is that lower high. And then we need to set up that trend change. Link BTC, looking great. Back test hold. Hourly needs to confirm the trend change as well. Little inverse head and shoulders trying to shape up. And again, same thing. If we can confirm a daily trend change on both US dollar and BTC pairings, alt bulls are very happy. Matic, USDT, same deal. Daily, looking just fine. Hourly, creating space. Everybody's doing the same thing, just varying degrees of bounce size, varying degrees of retracement size. Change the hourly, we zoom out and scout a 4 hour lower high, nice volume. And trying for the daily continuation move. And the BTC pairing, doing the same thing. This is a cup and handle. Doesn't mean it will follow through, but the psychology is there. Resistance, unable to break resistance, potential bull flag. I'm going to be very curious to see if that plays out. We would need Bitcoin in the mid 40,000s and the BTC pairings of these alts to continue bullishly correlated for that to be a possibility. But it is a possibility. I wouldn't say it's a probability. I wouldn't say it's the most likely scenario, but it is definitely a scenario. XRP USDT. Not sure why we're looking at this. I guess one of the weaker names. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. Retracement size, a little over 50%. So not as significant as Bitcoin. And the BTC pairing doing the same thing. So it looks like a standard. I'm sure what many altcoins are doing. Some are stronger. Matic and Link and some others. Some are weaker. But they're all doing versions of the same thing. ADA USDT. Same deal. Retracement. 50%. BTC pairing. Trying for the higher low, same thing. Everybody's doing the same thing. Technical analysis becomes fairly easy when things are so correlated because, again, once you have the picture of what Bitcoin is doing, everybody else is doing the same thing. It saves you a lot of time from individual analysis. It's just comparing. All right. So I am certainly in flow state in the cryptocurrency space right now, and it's important to keep myself in check. Because the last thing we want to do is feel invincible and oversize and lose sight of what it's like to lose and put ourselves in a position where we give back a lot of profit. That's what happens when you enter a win streak for a lot of newer traders. You let your rules fall to the wayside and you lose sight of things. So it's very important to not let that happen. Embrace the flow state, capitalize on it while it is there. It won't be here forever. I will lose this flow state, absolutely. But I will continue to trade fairly aggressively as long as that is there. And why is it here right now? Because when you have these fear flushes and high volatility, markets do the same thing over and over and over again. And I am most confident in what a market is going to do in this scenario. Just because, again, it's most clear and there's a lot of space for levels to form and things to happen, and emotions are running the space. When emotions are running the markets, technical analysis works better. For me, it's better when it's fear than euphoria, but they're still definitely useful in both scenarios. And also with a win streak and flow state, you got to be cautious of ego as well, and that ties into getting overconfident, just feeling like you can't lose, feeling like Superman, and you don't want to be a dick. Oops. I gotta bleep that out. You don't want to be a jerk thinking you're hot stuff because you can click some buttons. So what? So, I was driving in the car today and I realized the shirt I'm wearing right now is from Goodwill 10 years ago. And that's now how I know I'm not letting my ego take over. Sticking to my roots. All right, let's see if we change these daily trends. Weekend's going to be key. Crypto will have some space to do its own thing. I hope you're well. Don't forget to do good things, and we will see you soon. I'm all out of yard content. We're going back to the road trip to Yellowstone from 10 years ago, part 3.
Getting to day 3 of the trip.
What are we doing?
We're
See ya.
hiking on our third day of the trip. Yellowstone River right here. Dan, where are we going to today?
Today we're going to H5, I believe? 3?
3 or 5? We're not sure.
H3 or
We're
5.
gonna have to check the map.
We'll see. We're looking for a spot in the river to dip. Nice little dip. And we'll take it from there.
Yeah, the water's pretty cold, so
Water is really cool.
we're gonna have to see. Check out that mountain. That mountain is crucial. That thing's big right next to us. That water is freezing. Oh, it's freezing.
It's chilly. It's pretty chilly. We're all gonna get on the log. Don't warm.
Imagine if all 4 of us just float down the river.
Choosing carefully.
I don't know how good the camera's gonna pick this up, but this is our sunset for camping night number 3. Oh, it doesn't get it. There's some light coming from over the mountains. It's really sick. Streams of light. And sun's going down over here.
Crazy sunset right now. Some purple and pink clouds. Oh, that one looks sweet. We got the whole sky turning colors here. Look at this sky.